In this video, you will see the original film of the Willard-Dempsey fight as it was released to the theaters. Where the original uncut film footage is today, I cannot yet say. But keep in mind that at a crucial point in the theater-released film, the editor has cut the film frames to insert the image of a bell. How many frames on either side of this cut were removed, I cannot now say. According to the Arizona Republican newspaper of July 3, 1919, the rules of the fight, agreed to by the parties, were that the referee was the sole authority to decide the match in the course of counting a fighter out. Dempsey's point is well taken, therefore, when in his several book versions of the fight, he emphatically insists that 1. Pecord counted Willard out, and 2. Pecord, grinning, raised his hand, acknowledging him as victor. While the film confirms Pecord approached Dempsey and took hold of his hands, shaking them, it does not show Pecord raising Dempsey's hand. What is conclusive, however, of Pecord's state of mind at the time he reached Dempsey and took hold of his hands is that upon releasing them, Pecord turned his back on Dempsey and walked to the far ropes as the mob poured into the ring, and he stood there motionless until Jimmy DeForest slipped out of the mob and approached him. I begin the stopwatch at the point the film shows you Willard moving away from his corner towards Jack, who was approaching him. And at the point Willard's butt touches the canvas on his 7th knockdown, I stop the watch. At that point, the uninterrupted fight has consumed 2 minutes and 42 seconds of film time, leaving 18 seconds for Pecord to count Willard out. As the slide shows, if you run the original theater film through an editing program like Premiere Pro CS5, using the start and stop points described, you'll end up with 16.5 seconds available to referee Pecord to count Willard out from the moment Willard's butt touches the canvas on the 7th knockdown. And this in a situation where it appears at least 5 beats of Pecord's count have been deleted by the insertion of the bell image. Whether or not there is a difference between film time and real time is a technical question I don't attempt to answer. Before the insertion of the bell image, you will see that Pecord has given 3 beats of his hand to the count. And after the bell image passes, you will see Pecord give 2 more beats of his hand before stopping and turning to look at Jack, and then moves toward him. This suggests reasonably that the bell image insertion covers the editor's cutout of 5 beats of Pecord's count, or approximately 5 additional seconds. This means, conclusively, that at the point in time Pecord's count of Willard's seventh knockdown began, he had at least 20 seconds left in the round of action to count Willard out. Now let's focus for a moment on the Bell image the editor intercut into the theater-released film itself. Notice that you see on the left of the Bell a tie rope. The only logical purpose of this rope being in view here is that it is a tie-down for the canvas covering the floor of the ring. Notice, too, the eye hook on the right side of the Bell. Obviously, the eye hook is positioned there for the use of a tie-down rope. Remember that the standard storyline offered in various versions over time by sports writers and by Kearns is that after a Marine drill team finished a performance in the ring, men removed the original canvas and replaced it with a new canvas. You see here in the theater film men handling ropes in the ring before the bout began. And you also have a scene, as the bout is about to begin, of two men in straw hats seeming to do something along the edge of the canvas. Then you have the scene where you see Willard standing in his corner looking over his left shoulder, and a placard is inserted telling you Willard is confused, that he hasn't heard the bell, that he asks what's going on. Keep in mind here that so far I have found no record of a statement Willard made at any time that substantiates the reason he is standing, the reason he is looking over his shoulder. And similarly, no record has yet been found of a statement the official timekeeper Barber made at any time of what he saw happen and what he did relative to the business about a rope fouling the clapper of the bell. Looking at the bell image, isn't it easy to see that the bell is fixed to the side wall of the ring between two eye hooks, leaving no reasonable probability that a tie-down rope could accidentally foul the clapper of the bell? Unless, of course, someone intentionally wound a tie rope around the bell in such a way that the strike of the clapper against the bell would be muted. And even if this were done, you can easily see that Barber, the man supposedly pulling on the clapper rope, would recognize the bell was fouled during the time we see Willard standing in his corner. And we can expect, had we been in Barber's shoes, that we would then and there have immediately fixed the problem, rung the bell, simultaneously starting our watch, and Willard and Dempsey would then have begun moving from their corners toward each other. So, why the confusion? Why the mystery at the start of the fight? Because it gave the gamblers who were controlling the situation the opportunity to keep the start time unclear, which necessarily means the stop time will be unclear.